I am Rio Youers. I'm the author of LOLA on Fire, which I am. Is Lola right there? There she is. I'm going to be reading from this today. Lola is it's a revenge novel. The book opens with a bang. It opens with Lola going after the notorious mobster Jimmy Alazzo. Jimmy is not a man to be messed with, and Lola goes there looking for blood, and she thinks she kills him. She leaves his house in ruins, his empire in flames, and she thinks she's killed him, but she hasn't. And Jimmy comes back to get his revenge, and we're gonna catch up with Jimmy with this reading here. We're gonna find out what Jimmy's been doing. This is from Lola on Fire. Jimmy had twice weekly massages, regular mani-pedis, fine whiskey tastings, and poker nights, quality cigars required, with his associates. But the hour he spent every day in the gym would always be his favorite time. Music thumped from in-ceiling speakers, something loud and angry to get the blood pounding. Jimmy applied 10-pound weights to each side of the barbell, bringing the total to 70 pounds. He curled 8 reps, strict form, not swinging his back at all. He counted to 20 and curled another 5. Not bad for 62. He looked at his reflection in one of the many mirrors, enjoying the way his muscles moved beneath the embroidery of scar tissue. The Italian fucking cat. Jimmy was not a spiritual man, but he believed the universe followed certain lines. As he looked at his scarred body, he remembered the old neighborhood, Chase Street specifically, behind Sicily Pizza. Mario Antonucci would sometimes bring out burned calzones or leftover slices, and there'd usually be a rabble of kids hanging around to intercept those scraps before they hit the dumpster. Only this one time, Jimmy, maybe 7 years old, was out back all by himself when the door opened and Mario came out with 3/4 of a Sicilian pie, a solid rectangular base topped with spicy sauce and singed, salty pepperoni. And there must have been something wrong with it, but to Jimmy, it looked like the greatest pizza in all of history. He sat cross-legged on the ground and wolfed down the first slice. Into his second slice, a cat leaped briskly onto a nearby trash can and watched him eat. Jimmy couldn't stop looking at the cat. Its left eye was sealed from fighting. It had half of one ear missing, and its calico fur was punctuated with scar tissue. "Nobody fucks with you," Jimmy said to the cat. "Even dogs run away." The cat responded with a hiss that sounded like paper tearing. Jimmy smiled and nudged the box, with more than half the pizza remaining, toward the cat, and they ate it together. Another 8 reps at 70 pounds, then 5 more. Jimmy dropped the barbell. It thudded at his feet with a forceful sound. The veins across his chest and in his throat bulged. He circled the gym and flexed. "Nobody fucks with you." He was not a big man, but he was strong. The son of an Italian steelworker, second youngest in a household of 12. He had to be strong. His old man would consistently drive him into the ground with the same force he'd used to shape steel, and Jimmy always popped back up. Sometimes he was hurt bad, a broken collarbone, 6 cracked ribs, but he barely let it show, and he never cried. Strength coursed through the Lazzo DNA, as unequivocal as their olive coloring and brown eyes. "We were forged from the volcanic rock of Mount Etna," his uncle Victor used to claim. Another family story recounted that in 1878, while working on the Brooklyn Bridge, Luca Lazzo, Jimmy's revered and respected grande nonno, threw 4 men to their deaths. Reason unknown. Lola Bear had fucked with him, however. and only the lasso's strength had kept his heart beating. Jimmy had no recollection of the 3 months he'd spent in a coma or the 16 months on life support. He didn't remember the trauma surgeon tweezering a 9mm round from his left kidney or sawing a window into his skull to relieve the pressure on his swelling brain. His upper body had been slathered with silicone fluid wrapped in gauze. Healthy skin had been removed from his legs and grafted to his face and shoulders. A machine had breathed for him. He had no memory of this. The nightmares arrived soon after, oil-like, narrow, confined. Lola Bear followed him. Sometimes she was a nimble panther that materialized out of the darkness and clawed. More often she spewed flames from her small ruby mouth and engulfed the world. In one dream, Jimmy caught the panther and slit its throat and pulled its surprised, beautiful head from its body. It was 3.5 years before he could speak, and the first words out of his cracked larynx were, "Where is she?" He screamed the first time he looked in the mirror. The doctors predicted a loss of motor coordination, impaired speech, and post-traumatic amnesia. Jimmy mixed gasoline with the nightmares, and they fueled him. He hit the gym in 1997, 4 years after Lola tried to kill him. He curled 3-pound wrist weights that first session, the kind of weights Beverly Hills housewives jogged with. After a month, he was bench pressing 30 pounds. After 2 months, he was up to 50. His arms and chest tightened with muscle. Reinventing his body was one thing, but Lola had destroyed his reputation too. Don Esposito had been good to Jimmy during his long convalescence. He supplied money, care, and protection in case that bitch returned to finish the job. He always provided a temporary residence when Jimmy got out of the hospital, seeing as Jimmy's house had been burned all the way to the fucking basement. But the Don giveth, and the Don taketh away. And he demoted Jimmy, fucking excommunicated him, when it became apparent that he was not going to die. From capo regime to civilian, just like that. Jimmy was pissed off, but he understood. Don Esposito was all about appearances, and Jimmy was weak back then, difficult to look at. He was also a determined son of a bitch and hell-bent on recuperating everything he'd lost. By the spring of 1998, he was able to form complete sentences and to speak without slurring too much. Duly emboldened, he donned $3,000 worth of Italian finery and met with Hunch Calloway at the Tuscan Gourmet in Carver City. The clothes, the location, very much informing that it was business as usual. Jimmy made no effort to hide his scars. A specialist in New York City had recommended a prosthetic mask that moved with his face, allowing some small expression. Jimmy declined. He despised his appearance, but the scars were a part of him. A reminder to everyone that it would take more than bullets and fire to put him in the ground. He thought regularly, fondly, of the cat he'd seen behind Sicily Pizza. Nobody fucks with you. Even dogs run away. That was precisely the message he wanted to present. What's the matter, Hunch? You can't look an old friend in the eye. Jesus Christ, Jimmy, I can. It's just, look at me, Hunch. They said you were gonna die. They were wrong. Hunch Calloway had eyes and ears on every street corner from Pittsburgh to Providence. In the past, Jimmy had used him to procure the names of witnesses, jury members, and criminal informants. Hunch would turn CIA himself 10 months later and would be executed for this foolish betrayal by Mitka Divic, an enforcer for the Odessa Mafia. Where is she? Jimmy asked. Lola? Yes, Lola. Of course, fucking Lola. Nobody knows, Jimmy. She took off after, after she tried to kill me. Right. and nobody knows nothing. Right. What about Dane Green, Johnny the Grease, Lucky Manzarek, those two-faced pricks you used to kick around with? They've all gone too. I heard Lucky went into witness protection, but I'm not sure. Hunch drank his water. He couldn't look at Jimmy for long. Everything's changed, Jimmy. Guys are cutting deals and cutting loose. Don Esposito is keeping his head above water, but he's got good people around him. The rumor is the sharks are circling. And not just the feds, the fucking Ukrainians, the blacks, the Mexicans. There's business to be done and they all want a piece. Jimmy told Hunch to keep his ear close to the ground. You catch a whiff of that bitch, I want to be the first to know. He knew tracking Lola down wouldn't be quick or easy, but that was just as well. He needed time to prepare, physically and mentally. Things were looking up, though. His lawyers had already procured investments in commercial real estate and land development companies in western Pennsylvania, with designs on obtaining majority ownership, by whatever means, within 18 months. Jimmy was on his way to reestablishing ties with commerce and community, the foundation from which to expand. At the gym, he was bench pressing 100 pounds, curling 25. Kid weights, but it was a start. Nobody fucks with you. The Italian cat was coming back. Thank you. LOLA on Fire. Available now. Peace and love.